The deception unveiled. The stars glittered like scattered diamonds across the observation window of the UESS Horizon. Captain Sarah Mitchell stood with her hands clasped behind her back, watching the massive space station grow larger as her ship approached. The structure was enormous, a testament to the combined engineering capabilities of the Galactic Council's 12-member species. Rotating rings of metal and crystal caught the light of the nearby star, creating rainbow reflections that danced across her face. "Captain, we're receiving final docking clearance from the station," Lieutenant Marcus Webb announced from the navigation console. His voice carried a hint of nervousness that he was trying to hide. Sarah couldn't blame him. This mission carried the weight of humanity's future. "Acknowledged. Take us in slowly, Marcus. Let's not give them any reason to be nervous." Sarah turned from the window and walked to her command chair. Around her, the bridge crew worked with quiet efficiency. They were the best Earth had to offer, hand-picked for this historic mission. Today would change everything. After 15 years of limited contact with the Galactic Council, humanity was finally being invited to join as a full member species. The Council had promised access to advanced technology, trade routes spanning thousands of light years, and protection under galactic law. All humanity had to do was sign the treaty and accept the Council's guidance. Dr. Robert Chen, Earth's lead diplomat, entered the bridge. His gray hair was neatly combed, and he wore the formal uniform designated for the signing ceremony. Despite his calm exterior, Sarah noticed tension in his shoulders. "Captain Mitchell, how long until we dock?" 15 minutes, Doctor." "Your delegation is ready?" Sarah asked. "As ready as we'll ever be," Chen replied. Moving to stand beside her chair, he lowered his voice. "Sarah, I need to tell you something. Last night, I received an encrypted message from one of our intelligence officers on Earth. There are concerns about this treaty. Some information doesn't add up." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. What kind of concerns? Before Chen could answer, the communications officer interrupted. "Captain, we're being hailed by the station's command center. They want to speak with Dr. Chen directly." Chen straightened his uniform. "Put them through." The main view screen flickered and an alien face appeared. It was a Valorian, one of the Council's founding species. The creature's 3 eyes blinked in sequence, and its translator collar hummed as it spoke. "Dr. Chen, welcome to Unity Station. I am Counselor Vexstar. We are honored by your arrival. The signing ceremony will begin in 1 standard hour. All preparations are complete." "Thank you, Counselor," Chen responded with a diplomatic smile. "We look forward to this historic moment." Indeed, humanity has waited long enough to join the greater galactic community. Today, you take your rightful place under our protection. Vexstar's words seemed pleasant enough, but something in the way he emphasized protection made Sarah's instincts flare with warning. The transmission ended, and the bridge fell silent. Chen turned to Sarah, his face troubled. Under their protection, not alongside them, under them. "Maybe it's just a translation issue," Marcus suggested from his console, though he didn't sound convinced. "Maybe," Sarah said quietly, but she didn't believe it either. She touched the communicator on her wrist. "Security Chief Ramirez, I want triple guards on all access points. Nobody boards this ship without my explicit authorization." "Understood, Captain," came the immediate response. The Horizon glided smoothly into the docking bay. Through the windows, Sarah could see dozens of other ships, vessels from species she'd only read about in briefing documents. Some were elegant, flowing constructions that seemed to defy physics. Others were brutal and angular, designed for war rather than beauty. All of them dwarfed the human ship. As the docking clamps engaged with a metallic thud, Sarah stood and addressed her crew. "Everyone stay sharp. This is a diplomatic mission, but that doesn't mean we let our guard down. Dr. Chen's delegation will proceed to the ceremony. The rest of us maintained standard operational readiness. The delegation assembled in the airlock. 12 humans representing Earth's diverse cultures and expertise. They wore formal attire and carried data pads containing the treaty documents. Sarah insisted on accompanying them with a security detail of 6 armed guards. "Captain, the council specifically requested that weapons not be brought to the ceremony," one of Chen's assistants reminded her nervously. "Then the council can specifically request that I leave," Sarah replied firmly. "My orders are to protect this delegation. I don't go anywhere without the ability to fulfill that duty." Chen nodded his approval. "Let's go. History is waiting." The airlock opened, revealing a corridor unlike anything Sarah had ever seen. The walls seemed to be made of living crystal, pulsing with soft blue light. The air carried strange scents, floral and metallic at the same time. Other aliens paused in their activities to watch the human delegation pass, their expressions ranging from curiosity to contempt. Sarah's hand never strayed far from her sidearm. Something felt wrong. The station was too quiet, too empty for such an important event. Where were the crowds? Where was the celebration? The ceremonial chamber was vast, with a domed ceiling that displayed a real-time view of the space outside. In the center stood a circular table made of polished black stone. 12 seats surrounded it, one for each council species. A 13th seat, smaller and clearly added recently, sat slightly apart from the others. "Your place," Vexstar indicated the isolated chair with a gesture that might have been respectful, but felt dismissive. Dr. Chen took his seat while Sarah and her security team positioned themselves around the room's perimeter. The other council members entered, taking their positions with practiced ease. Sarah studied each one, noting their body language and positions. They seemed tense, expectant. "Let us begin," Vexstar announced. "Today we welcome the human species into the Galactic Council. You have demonstrated sufficient technological development and social cohesion to warrant inclusion in our community. By signing this treaty, you agree to abide by Council law, accept Council guidance, and submit to Council authority in all matters of galactic significance." Sarah saw Chen's face tighten at those words. Submit. That word hadn't been in any of the preliminary negotiations. "Counselor Vexstar," Chen said carefully, "the draft treaty we reviewed on Earth spoke of partnership and mutual cooperation. The word submit was never used." "An oversight in translation," Vexstar replied smoothly. "The meaning is the same." "I don't think it is," Chen stood slowly. "I think we need to review these terms more carefully before proceeding." The atmosphere in the room changed instantly. The aliens shifted in their seats, and Sarah saw something that made her blood run cold. Through the transparent dome above, ships were moving into position. Dozens of them, all bearing Council military markings, all with weapons ports opening. "Captain, multiple contacts dropping out of stealth mode," Marcus' voice crackled through her communicator, panic clear in his tone. "They've surrounded the horizon. We're locked in the docking bay. Captain, it's a trap." "I know," Sarah said quietly, drawing her weapon in one smooth motion. Her security team followed suit instantly, creating a protective circle around the human delegation. Vexstar smiled, a disturbing expression on his alien features. "Your weapons are useless here, Captain. This station's shields can withstand a supernova. Your ship is disabled. Your delegation is trapped. And in approximately 5 minutes, Council warships will open fire on every human vessel in this sector." "Why?" Chen demanded, his face pale, but his voice steady. "Why? Why go through this charade? Why not just attack Earth directly?" "Because we needed to gather your leadership in one place," another council member answered. This one was a crystalline being whose voice rang like bells. "Your military commanders, your top scientists, your political elite, all traveling here for this historic occasion. When you die,
Earth will be leaderless and vulnerable. The invasion will proceed with minimal resistance. Sarah felt rage building in her chest, but she forced herself to think clearly. They had walked into a trap, but that didn't mean they were defeated. She activated her emergency beacon, the one that would send a compressed data burst back to Earth, regardless of jamming. It would tell Earth Command everything they needed to know. "You've made a terrible mistake," Sarah said, her voice cold and hard. "You think you know humanity. You think we're weak, unprepared. You have no idea what you've started." Vexstar laughed. "What can you possibly do, Captain? Your species is barely beyond primitive spaceflight. The Council has controlled this galaxy for 10,000 years. You are insects pretending."
The Reckoning. The first shot from the human warship struck Unity Station's shield with a sound like thunder tearing through metal. The entire structure shuddered, throwing council members from their seats. Sarah kept her balance, her military training taking over as she grabbed Dr. Chen and pulled him toward the exit. "Move!" she shouted to her security team. "Get the delegation out now!" The council chamber descended into complete chaos. Aliens scrambled in every direction, their translators creating a cacophony of panicked voices in dozens of languages. Vexstar was screaming orders that nobody seemed to hear. The crystalline council member had shattered into 3 pieces in its panic, each fragment crawling away independently. Through the transparent dome, Sarah watched as the human fleet engaged the council warships. The Shadow Fleet moved with precision that spoke of years of training and secret exercises. Their ships darted between the larger, slower council vessels like wolves among sheep. Brilliant flashes of weapons fire lit up the darkness of space. "Captain Mitchell," Marcus's voice crackled through her communicator, distorted by interference. "We've broken free of the docking clamps. The Horizon is combat ready, but we're taking heavy fire. We need to extract the delegation immediately." "On our way," Sarah responded, firing her sidearm at the ceremonial chamber's door controls. The ornate entrance exploded in a shower of sparks, the security lockdown overridden by brute force. "Everyone through. Stay together." The delegation ran through the corridor, their formal attire completely unsuited for fleeing. One of Chen's assistants stumbled, and Sarah hauled her back to her feet without breaking stride. Behind them, station security forces were mobilizing, but they seemed confused about who to target and who to protect. An insectoid guard stepped into their path, raising a weapon that hummed with exotic energy. Sarah didn't hesitate. She fired 3 times, her rounds punching through the creature's carapace. It collapsed with a shriek that made her ears ring even through the translator's attempt to render it comprehensible. "Left at the junction," Dr. Chen called out, his datapad somehow still functioning and displaying a map of the station. "The docking bay is 200 meters ahead." They rounded the corner and stopped dead. Blocking the corridor were a dozen more guards, these ones clearly ready for a fight. Behind them, Sarah heard pursuing footsteps. They were trapped between 2 forces. "Captain," one of her security officers said quietly, "we can't fight through that many." "We won't have to," Sarah replied, looking up at the ceiling. The station's infrastructure was exposed here, pipes and conduits running along the walls. She aimed carefully and fired at a junction box marked with warning symbols and alien script. The explosion was bigger than she anticipated. The ceiling collapsed, sending debris crashing down between them and the guards ahead. Coolant sprayed into the air, creating a fog that obscured vision. Alarms added to the general chaos. "Run!" Sarah commanded, and they sprinted through the settling dust, climbing over fallen debris. The guards behind them were slowed by the same obstacles. They burst into the docking bay to find it transformed into a war zone. Ships were attempting to flee in every direction, colliding with each other in their panic. The Horizon hung in its berth, engines glowing with power, its point defense systems firing at incoming threats. "Horizon, we're coming in hot," Sarah transmitted as they ran across the deck. "Drop the ramp now." The ship's boarding ramp extended even as they approached. Marcus had positioned the vessel perfectly, its armored hull shielding the ramp from enemy fire. The delegation scrambled aboard, and Sarah was the last one up, turning to fire several covering shots before the ramp sealed behind her. "We're secure. Get us out of here," she commanded, running toward the bridge.
The horizon lurched as Marcus engaged full thrust. Through the viewports, Sarah saw the docking bay's force field was still active, trapping them inside. But Marcus had anticipated this problem. He didn't slow down. Instead, he armed the forward torpedoes and fired a full spread directly at the force field emitter. The explosions rippled across the energy barrier, overloading it. For just a moment, a gap appeared in the field. The horizon shot through like a bullet from a gun, so close to the edges that Sarah could see the energy discharge crackling across their hull. Then they were out, flying free into the middle of the largest space battle humanity had ever witnessed. The Shadow Fleet had formed a defensive sphere around Unity Station, preventing Council reinforcements from reaching it. Human warships danced through space with an agility that shocked the enemy. Council vessels were built for overwhelming firepower and heavy armor, designed for the kind of battles they'd fought for millennia. But the humans had studied a different kind of warfare. "Captain on the bridge," someone called as Sarah arrived. The command center was organized chaos, with every station operator working at maximum intensity. "Status report," Sarah ordered, dropping into her command chair. "The Shadow Fleet has achieved tactical superiority in this sector," Marcus reported, his hands flying across the navigation controls. "Admiral Cooper's flagship, the Retribution, is leading the main assault. They're systematically dismantling the Council's command structure. We're receiving orders to join the fleet's spearhead formation." Through the main view screen, Sarah watched as a massive Council dreadnought tried to bring its primary weapons to bear on a cluster of human frigates. The human ships scattered before the blast, then reformed behind the dreadnought, targeting its engines with coordinated precision. The alien vessel went dark, tumbling helplessly through space. "How are we doing this?" Dr. Chen asked, standing beside Sarah's chair. He looked stunned, unable to reconcile what he was seeing with everything he thought he knew about humanity's capabilities. "We've only had spaceflight for 70 years. The Council had millennia to perfect their technology." "We're doing it because we had to," Sarah replied. "Because we knew that one day someone would try exactly what Vextar attempted, so we prepared. Every resource we could spare went into the Shadow Fleet program. We recruited the best minds from every nation on Earth. We built shipyards in the asteroid belt where Council surveillance couldn't reach. We tested our weapons in the outer solar system where no one was watching." A transmission came through on the priority channel. "All human vessels, this is Admiral Cooper. Phase 1 is complete. Unity Station is isolated. Begin Phase 2. Target Council border stations. Show them that attacking humanity was the worst decision they ever made." The Shadow Fleet broke into smaller attack groups, each one setting course for different objectives throughout Council space. The Horizon joined a squadron of 8 destroyers, all heading for a Council military installation 3 systems away. "Admiral," Sarah transmitted, "this is Captain Mitchell of the Horizon. The diplomatic delegation is secure aboard my vessel. Dr. Chen survived." "Excellent work, Captain." Cooper's voice came back, heavy with emotion. "When we received your emergency beacon, we feared the worst. I'm glad we got there in time." "Admiral," Sarah asked, "what are our orders?" There was a pause before Cooper responded. When he spoke again, his voice carried the weight of command and the burden of necessity. "Captain Mitchell, for 15 years we've lived under the Council's thumb. They controlled which technologies we could develop, they monitored our communications, they stationed observers on Earth to ensure we remained compliant. They treated us like children at best, like potential threats at worst. Today, they showed us what they really thought of humanity. They tried to destroy us." "Yes, sir," Sarah said quietly. "We're not going to let them do this to another species," Cooper continued. "The Council's reign of control ends today. We're going to dismantle their military infrastructure, we're going to liberate the species they've oppressed, and we're going to make sure the galaxy knows that humanity will not be enslaved, will not be destroyed, and will not bow to anyone." The Horizon jumped to faster-than-light travel, reality blurring around them as they crossed the distance between star systems in minutes. When they emerged, the Council military installation was visible ahead, a massive structure bristling with weapons and sensors. "All ships, begin your attack runs," the squadron leader commanded. "Target their shield generators first, then their weapons arrays. We disable, we don't destroy. There are civilians on that station." The human destroyers swept in from multiple angles, their weapons fire carefully calculated.
Sarah watched as the tactical display showed each shield generator taking damage, the station's defenses collapsing section by section. The Council defenders tried to fight back, but their weapons couldn't track the fast-moving human ships. Within 20 minutes, the border station was helpless, its weapons offline, its shields down, its communications jammed. A Council commander appeared on screen, his alien face showing clear signs of fear. "We surrender," he said simply. "Please, don't destroy us." "We're not like you," Sarah replied. "We don't slaughter the helpless. But you need to understand something. Tell your superiors, tell the Council. Humanity is done following your rules. We're done accepting your limits. We're done living in fear of your judgment." The squadron moved on, leaving the disabled station behind. Across Council space, similar scenes were playing out. Human forces struck with surgical precision at military targets, avoiding civilian casualties, but demonstrating overwhelming tactical superiority. The message was clear. The balance of power had shifted. 3 days later, Sarah stood in the war room aboard the Retribution, Admiral Cooper's flagship. The room was filled with holographic displays showing the current state of the conflict. Council territory was color-coded, with red zones indicating areas under Council control and blue zones showing human-occupied sectors. The blue was spreading rapidly. Admiral James Cooper was a man in his 60s, his gray hair cut military short, his face lined with decades of service. He studied the displays with the calm focus of someone who had anticipated every move of this campaign years in advance. 17 Council member species have requested negotiations. 8 have withdrawn their forces entirely. 5 are experiencing internal rebellions. The Council's unified front is collapsing faster than we projected. What about Earth? Are we secure? The Council attempted a retaliatory strike on our home system. The Second Fleet intercepted them